Everyone got their microphones on?
Call order the town board meeting at the Town of Lisbon Town Hall on Monday, August 8th, 2022 at 6:32 PM. Roll call, please.
Chairman Osterman.
Here.
Supervisor Beal. Here. Supervisor Plotecker. Here. Supervisor Quinn. Here. We've got Supervisor Moonen on Zoom.
Here.
Treasurer Gerard. Here. Administrator Nicholas.
Here.
And Clerk Capazza to record the minutes. We also have DPW Director Joe DiStefano in the audience and Interim Fire Chief Michelle Drager in the audience.
All right, thank you. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is comments from citizens present. Anyone here wish to make any comments tonight? Anyone on Zoom? Just marking.
No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, let's move on to item 4, which is the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered in one motion unless a town board member requests that an item be removed. We've got the July 25th, 2022 town minutes and letter of credit reduction for Bark River Preserve in the amount of $243,747.44. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I make a motion we send to the July 25th, 2022 town minutes and the letter of credit for Bark River amount of $243,747.44.
Moved by Linda Beal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Paula. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item 5, accounts payable, authorizing the payment of the Falls Auto Parts bill in the amount of $74.40. Is there a motion on the check register?
I make a motion to authorize payment of the Falls Auto Bill parts bill in the amount of $74.40.
Moved by Linda Beal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Becky.
Second by Becky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item B, authorizing the payment of the remaining bills in the amount of $109,925.23.
We have Premier Building Inspections for $39,270.03. Kunkel Engineering at $24,336.25. Municipal Law and Litigation, $7,675.30. Both Infrastructure, $5,075.66, and E.H. Wolf and Sons, $3,169.33. I ask for your approval.
Any questions or comments on the bills, or is there a motion?
We bill them. We bill them, and then if they don't pay their, we can put it on their tax bills.
Okay. Thank you. I like that when that was started. Okay, I make a motion, we accept the payment and putting the remaining bills in the amount of $9,925.
Is there a second? Second by Becky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, announcements and correspondence with the election day, Tuesday the 9th, tomorrow, 8 PM, 7 AM to 8 PM at the Town Hall, Redeemer Church, and at the Richard Young Fire Station. We have the Parks Committee meeting on the 15th at 6:30 PM at the Richard Young Fire Station. The Sanitary Sewer District number 1 meeting on Wednesday, the 17th at 6:30 here at the Town Hall. The Joint Review Board for Lisbon TID number 1 on Thursday, the 18th at 4 PM at the Town Hall. And the next town board meeting will be on Monday, the 22nd at 6:30 at the Town Hall. Are there any other announcements or correspondence?
Yeah, the sanitary district has a special meeting this Wednesday at 6:30. We have an issue, so we have to address it
Okay,
with some properties.
all right, so it's 6:30 at the Town Hall on Wednesday. Any other announcements or correspondence? All right, item 7, administrator report.
Right, so my 2-week update, I worked on correcting the deed and with revenue and the county for Pontiac trucking. I conferred with the attorney on counter offers with Quick Trip and Forrester. Gathered information for supplemental documents for incorporation board. Worked on incorporation of, or I'm sorry, coordination of the first 2 incorporation review board meetings. First one is set for September 26th, and we expect the second one will be in October. Met with each department head on budget requests, held team meetings. Now all our staff have been certified in CPR for adults, infant, and children. Thank you to our fire department for stepping up and doing that for us. We prepared for the National Night Out and also attended, did research on the utility district ordinance. The plan is to do a public hearing on the 28th of November. It's a class 1 notice. It'll also be sent out to everyone that is in the sanitary district. Then on the town board agenda on December 12th, we'll have on the agenda the creation of the utility district 1 and to dissolve the sanitary district 1 starting January 1/1/23. All assets, liabilities, and contracts held by the sanitary district will be transferred to the utility district. This will allow the final audit of the sanitary district to be the completed year for 2022. In the next sanitary district meeting, I'll give their board tentative timeline. The plan is to attend all the rest of the sanitary districts for moving forward, including the budget meetings. Reached out to other communities that use municipal law to chip in to have a review of the IGA with the county concerning recycling at the 22nd meeting. Annalise from the county recycling will be on Zoom to answer any questions you have on the new recycling IGA. Levy limit worksheet, just I wanted to note that it is not out from the Department of Revenue yet, so I can't get you a copy of that. And if you have anything that you'd like to be put on this quarter's newsletter, please contact myself or Natasha. And then I worked with Sussex on a process for commercial water meter requests. We had a problem during the time that Wyckoff came in, and we're solidifying that now. I'll be in Israel the next meeting, and next week is my 2-year anniversary.
Time flies.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions for Kathy?
Next meeting, will be in Israel.
I'll be in Israel.
Do you want me to bring this up
What?
about what's going on as far as the utility district? What you're having here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right. No questions? All right, thank you, Kathy. Item 8, incorporation update.
I kind of mushed it together with my administrative report, so I have no additional information.
All right, Lisbon economic conditions update.
I have nothing.
Anybody have anything on that? All right, item 10, treasurer report.
Right, regarding training, I attended the Treasurer Spring Conference in April with Amy Bookman, former treasurer. She is my mentor through MTAW, and we attended and split all costs. I attended my first year at UW Green Bay Treasurers Institute in July on a full $500 scholarship. I registered for the software, our annual training in September, signed up for utility billing classes. Lisa is signed up for AP and payroll. Lisa is trained with the exception of year end. I plan to help her with W-2s and WRS, and then she will handle the AP process, the 1099s. For marketing highlights, I'm targeting early September publish date for the fall newsletter prior to the appliance and electronics recycling event. I'm testing the online park reservations on the website with Jasmine. She will be approving the requests through the actual portal after credit card payment is confirmed. So the key benefits are real-time calendar availability. So we'll be securing reservations quickly online versus in person. And then we can easily forward those reservations onto the Parks Department. Our website Notify Me alerts count is almost 1,000 subscribers. which is up nearly 100 from last month. So when we first launched the website, we were at like 20 subscribers within the first like 3 months. So, our count is climbing. So the top categories are garbage, newsletter, roads, and compost. I ran the Google Analytics last week, and the top web pages are elections, garbage, licenses, surprisingly, Business Park East and the Agenda Center. So moving on to our financial position, you can take a look at the summary document. So I have it's stapled, it's the summary, the detail, and then our investments. So I'll speak to that top page first. As of the end of June, we've received 76% of our budgeted revenues. If you include the $70,000 highway truck sale, which is listed in the middle under the other financing sources, then we're at 78%. A key call out in the miscellaneous category is a fire department donation for $15,000. So that's why we're up. Down below for the upcoming revenues, I listed, I just highlighted the ones in blue that were grants. So they're received and allocated to different funds. Otherwise, we will be receiving over $800,000 in upcoming revenue just for the general fund. And that includes all the aids listed and then the general fund portion of our August tax settlement. So then we will be at 90% of our revenues. Total expenditures account for 45% of the budget as of June 30th. If you include the capital we levied for in the general fund, so that is the $485,000 transfer out to capital, then we're at 53%. That transfer again is located under the other financing sources. So that's the transfer for sinking funds. So behind this report is the detailed report. So that includes all the different line items that make up the category within the summary. So you can look into that. We are in a healthy financial position overall, and we can move on to investments. So that would be the last page. Total investments as of June are 9.3 million. Total interest earned for January through June is 11,000, which is 94% of the 2021 total. The Q2 interest is over 2.5 times last year and comparable to Q2 2020, which is obviously a positive shift. Some really exciting news. In meeting with Town Bank, I learned about their money market LGIP rate match program. I noticed higher returns with Town Bank during my monthly reconciliation after my meeting. So then I reached out to Waukesha State Bank to see if they'd consider the same LGIP rate match. Our banker received president and CFO approval, and the negotiations took a couple weeks, but I managed to negotiate Waukesha State Bank money market from 0.2% to 1.55% and climbing. So that's up from 0.98% last month, and the month before it was 0.62%. So just to know, this is a rate match that follows a 1 month lag. So whatever LGIP sets, then Town Bank and Waukesha State Bank will match it following 30 days. So just to give you an example, June interest was approximately $700, and then July interest was almost $3,300. So it's a big win. All money market accounts are positioned at a high earning potential now. Just a quick summary of taxes. We collected 80% of our tax revenue. January and February settlements were reconciled by Joan, and then I worked on the April lottery credit while she was still here. And then I plan to reconcile the August settlement for $881,000 in September. Waukesha State Bank notified us that they are not offering tax collection services this year. They mentioned staffing costs, training, OT, temp workers, long wait times, and their quality of services has really diminished over the past 2 years. I reached out to Town Bank just to see if they were an option, and they discontinued their services in 2021, again, due to COVID staffing. And they also noted that their cost was higher than the county. On a positive note, we plan to finalize the tax bill sooner this year. I've been reconciling garbage units with the county throughout the year, so we are reconciled as of June. Kathy will be helping with stormwater units. And in terms of timing, the preliminary audit is going on during tax prep in November. So I plan to work on the treasurer letter, all the tax inserts, graphics, flyers in October as soon as I can to manage that timeline. Moving on to final wins, the books are caught up. The DOR fuel refund submissions are on schedule for quarterly refunds. The impact fees are updated from July of 21 to July of 22. The transfer was complete in May, and so monies will be transferred from the general fund to the general account to the impact fees account within the LGIP, and that'll happen twice a year, so May and October, and that's current. In preparation for budget season, I've been organizing the capital project expenditures and updating the sinking funds tracking sheet by category, which is fire, highway trucks, roads, parks, and salt shed. It is not final, it is a work in progress and a big undertaking. Form C from the final audit and the TID annual report were submitted on time to the DOR and then forwarded on to the auditors and our financial advisors. That's it.
I'm really impressed.
Thank you, Linda.
It was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do.
Nope, nothing for me.
So, do I have
I was asked at the last meeting that where we are in numbers, so I thought I'd just get you an idea of the amount of money that we have. And it came in 2 payments in June of 21 and 22. And then June 13th, you all approved the money that is reserved. I did want to make note that you approved 60,000, but the actual transfer won't happen until after our last payroll, so we know exactly the amount. So that number might change a little bit. So we're at $947,312.
And you want to win to utilize this?
We're supposed to have it 24 by 24. We should have everything by contract. Those contracts all have to be done by, any buildings or anything have to be done by 26. All money spent. And I'll update this as time goes on. As soon as we start going from reserve to actual, then I'll update it and give it to you. And anytime you make a change or add things to it at a meeting, I'll update that for you moving forward. And then I'll pass it to the treasurer.
All right. Anything else on that from anyone? All right, thank you. Item 13, new business. A, discussion and necessary action regarding purchase of radar kits, software license, and laptop.
Right, at the last meeting, you had asked for me to contact the sheriff's department and see if they had some recommendations on the radar kits. So in front of you, I have the response I received from Captain Panis, and we have Deputy Farrell, Lieutenant Farrell. So
How you doing?
Good, what'd you say?
Doing good, thank you.
So you guys should have the information regarding the radar unit. It's basically for tracking purposes. It's not like one of those radar signs that you see. This is for data collection. The highlights are for traffic counts and speed assessment. We have a similar unit that is used in Sussex right now that's owned by the village and utilized in this area. This is an updated model with additional technology One of the focuses on this one was better reads with two-way traffic. I know there had been some issues coming up. We use these a lot for getting speeding complaints to determine if it's gonna actually be a valid complaint or just somebody who doesn't realize how cars look going past their house.
So this was a suggestion at the last meeting. We got our numbers. One of the suggestions was to use ARPA money for this. To get the two kits, so then they can be placed in roads that our public safety committee has, that are trying to address.
So this does this take pictures or is this just,
This doesn't take pictures. It gives us a radar reading. If you've seen any of our other speed studies that we've done for you, it's gonna be a very similar process. It's the same brand that we have currently. It's just an updated model. An example, like the Village of Sussex, they just had it out last week at an intersection where they were actually talking about removing a stop sign. So they wanted a traffic count to see how many cars go through there in a week to determine whether that stop sign was actually needed or not, as well as other data that it gives us for not only traffic counts, but speed issues.
any questions from the board?
This is what we were talking about for the residential area with the complaint of the citizens.
Right.
Is this an annual cost? You know, what's an annual, what a part of this?
Nope, that would be a single unit. It's basically the item itself. It's a box probably about this size. It's probably about 6 inches thick. We mount it on like a telephone pole, stop sign, something similar to that. Get the data, and then it can be moved from spot to spot depending on where you're getting complaints. So it should be the one-time cost. The
So the software is
$500.
$500, $500.
But it's a
So-
two-way like this.
Right, we're gonna do two radar things. We get two boxes, one laptop, one software, and the software would take care of the two units.
We put it in two different spots.
Yeah, we'd be able to put it on two different streets.
But this attaches to a like a pre-existing hole that's in the ground. So if there's nothing there, then how do we use that?
We'll contact DPW and have them just basically put a stake in the ground, a temporary sign.
Something like this with Lisa,
No,
having a radar,
We had license plate readers that we did with squads a few years ago.
I think it was like, speed limits.
We have two speed limit signs that just it does record some data and it flashes it.
Yeah, so those are the ones where you'll see on the side of the road where it says your speed and it'll flash at you if you're going too fast.
Right.
That's for basically immediate action. This is more for data collection. It's not a big advertised box of what it is. That's for us to get a true reading of what the roadway actually looks like with speed and traffic volume.
So how many did you purchase last time? Was it two?
We had gotten two of those.
Two.
And where are those out now?
I believe those are put up by DPW. I'm not sure.
They're going off soon.
Oh, they're not up now.
They come and go, and we've had them up and they come down and go off. It's done based on the plan. So there's one going in Barnwood and there's right here.
Okay.
Those don't have any solar panels on them, right? We have to charge those.
So is this gonna be solely on Quest two?
Yeah, this would be maintained by our office. It'd be any request we receive from you, from your office or citizen complaints about speed. If we get a complaint, say here on Woodside, that speed is excessive, we can put that up for a week and determine if there is actually a speed problem or if it's a perception issue.
Would you ever take, if you decide to go with this, would you ever take one or two of these to use for another municipality if we're not using ours?
It would depend on the agreement that we have. Like right now, we use the one for Sussex for you guys and then vice versa. So currently the only one we have in this area is owned by Sussex. We've used it in Lisbon. We've used it in the Village of Merton. Would be kind of the agreement that we've come
So the
to.
only one now is there's one for Sussex.
Yep, Sussex currently owns one. When we put it up, it's up for a 2-week time span. And if we don't have any complaints, we basically cycle through our same locations. So Sussex, through their public safety committee, they had a list of complaints. And basically every 2 years, we'll do a speed study in those locations to see whether the problem's continuing, decreasing, increasing, or still non-existent.
Are they planning on adding one to that, or just, are they gonna add another one again?
To the best of my knowledge, they're not. Sussex owns one of these radar units where it tracks the data. And then Sussex also owns a portable speed trailer, which is one of those flashing signs where it basically displays the speed. So they went the route of going one of each.
Why would we order two? I don't mean to sound, why would we order?
We don't have
two?
to.
If they have one, but we ordered two?
I thought the quote was actually only for one. I didn't know
Okay.
if that got
I
changed.
think, from last meeting, we talked about two, so I just multiplied it out and what it would be for two. If you want to go back down to one, that's fine. It had nothing to do with Sussex itself. Keep in mind that Sussex has, lights and things that kind of monitor their speed. These are for subdivisions. We had 3 roads that we had concerns on right off the bat, and these are what Mark called covert, so people don't know they're there. That's instead of the big flashing sign to make people start slowing down. These actually get true readings, and then we can get them back. My understanding, Lieutenant, is a lot of times somebody thinks people are speeding by, and this kind of helps show that they're only going like 2 miles over the speed limit, or there is no problem at all.
Yeah, our biggest complaint is like, especially in the subdivisions, if you have roads with curves and stuff like that, as the cars go around, they look like they're going a lot faster. And this gives us a true sense of how fast cars are actually going.
This is our opportunity if we're going to use ARPA money for something, so we don't have to later on find out we would like a second one and it comes out of our regular operating or capital fund.
Just curious, if we, say if it was decided just to buy one, you still need the laptop and you still need the license.
That's
So
correct.
the same.
That's the same.
Do we need the laptop with this?
Yeah, it's for downloading the data from it. It basically will dump the data onto that computer and it'll allow us to put it into essentially PDF reports that we can give to you. Whether it's an overview or specific timeframes. The one for Sussex will dump 10 reports when we download it. So it's everything from day of the week, time of day, number of cars, how fast they're going, overall speed. It has graphs, and we can like choose what we're downloading. So depending on what data you're looking for, we can choose that. We just need some device to download that. And the one that Sussex is currently using is a old computer that was actually cycled out of service from one of our county computers. And it's kind of at the end of its life. We were talking about actually just dumping the software onto the same computer, just so we only had one. But this computer is at the end of its life. So we'll eventually be looking at replacing that for Sussex as well.
So in the meantime, you would have Sussex for this one. Is that what you're saying?
We only have one software license for Sussex right now, so it has to stay on that computer.
And I'm looking, how often do you have to get a license, to get update a software license?
I believe it's once per purchase. I think that software will be tied to that unit,
Or
but I
you
would
don't
have to double check.
Do it every year.
To the best of my
5
knowledge, that
years?
is not an annual fee.
Okay.
Becky, what are your thoughts?
It- One computer will handle both of them,
Yes.
Yes, that's my understanding.
and, it records the speed and the time, right?
Correct.
Okay, no, I think I would get 2 of them. I mean, right now, we're talking about a problem in Twin Pines and a problem in Mount Shadow.
Is there a big benefit to having 2 of these other than you cover more area? Like you put one at one end of the subdivision, one at the other end?
Yeah, that would be one advantage. The only other advantage I can think of off the top of my head is if you're concerned about a specific intersection and say one road runs north-south, one runs east-west, you can put one on each cross street so you can get true traffic counts in both directions. Other than counting for turns and stuff like that, that's the other advantage I see to having 2.
So if you do find out that someone is speeding, is this where they send you an automatic ticket?
No, so state of Wisconsin, actually, we cannot mail citations for violations like this. If we find out that there's a speeding problem, this will tell us specific dates and times that are the problem. So if it's out there for 2 weeks, it might say, highest speed problem is between Wednesdays at 9 AM and 11 AM, let's say. That way we can tell our squads, hey, sit in this area around this time and figure out if it's higher traffic volume or if there's no traffic. So the few cars that are going through are speeding. It just gives us a better option for traffic enforcement. And like I said, in the Sussex example, also for their roadways, whether it's we need to add a stop sign or remove a stop sign, it gives that ability as well.
Paula?
I mean, do you think that we need two here? Because if Sussex got one and we have one, could
To
we?
the best of
use
my
it as a
knowledge, we
combo?
could use them together. Sussex has only had one as long as I've been up here. I've been working this area for just over 6 years. We've never had a problem where we need multiple at once. If we do get multiple complaints at once, we just basically will have a running list of once it's done here, it's going here. Once it's done here, it's going here. So that way we can just keep track.
How busy is Sussex? Is theirs been used pretty much consistently, like all the time?
It all depends on time of year. Gets used a lot more in spring, I think, because as people are coming out, it goes out a lot. We don't have it out in the winter as much, just to try to expand the life of the battery, so it's not sitting out in the cold. But with the batteries in there, it can be out in one spot for 2 weeks without having to be taken down to recharge or anything like that.
If there is a spot that the town of Lisbon, so because we own it, we get precedence over using it compared to Sussex or Merton.
Yep, that is correct. So like right now, if we get a complaint from Lisbon and Sussex at the same time, we're gonna do the Sussex one first because the machine is owned by Sussex. And
Mark?
sorry.
Mark, you got anything?
Yeah, I would, I think the lieutenant did a great job of outlining what the units are. I actually, in my job, use these almost every day throughout the year. And they're great tools to provide impartial reports to citizens because they're just facts. They don't have any opinion in them. Also to it helps us, you know, we only have one deputy assigned to our area per night. So it helps them target their time more specifically. And if there is a true complaint, they can sit in and do the right, be in the right spot at the right time. Also too, I would recommend authorizing an additional $200 to purchase batteries. That way we can deploy the unit back to back instead of having to wait to recharge the batteries for a couple days. So I would just additional $200 on top of the quote. But I would be in favor of the 2 units.
Mark, just so I have this down right, is that $200 per unit or just $200 would take care of 2 batteries?
There's, yeah, I don't know exactly, but there should be 2 units, 2 batteries in each unit. So 4 batteries, I think we could, with $200, we could capture that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, if you look on the quote, it does have batteries listed as 2 each. So each unit should come with 2 batteries. At least the current unit we have, which is, I think this model 3 years ago, runs 2 batteries simultaneously so that it can last that full 2 weeks.
I'm good with getting 2 units. I think there's a use for it.
I'm good with the 2 units. I think that's a good place to put that money.
Paula,
Yeah, I agree.
Becky,
Yeah.
So are we looking at 9171 with $200 of battery costs as well?
I can also reach out and see if we can get a updated quote with 2 units and extra batteries and see if for some reason they give a discount for 2.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
do we want to do a not to exceed motion on this, or do we want to bring it back?
No, I think it's not to see.
You thinking 9100?
More than
9171 if it's.
9171. 9200.
Somebody want to put that in a motion?
I make a motion that we purchased 2 radar kits, a laptop, and we purchased this license, software license, plus 2 additional batteries,
Four.
4 batteries, not to exclude, not to exceed $9,200.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, maybe
Uh,
second.
You want to amend your motion to say that it's coming out of ARPA money?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. it's
If
coming
that's
out
where
of
you
ARPA.
want it. I'm not
Yes.
sure if everyone.
Second, okay with that?
Yes, definitely. That was
Alright.
my-
Yep, mine too.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Right?
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, item B is discussion
Almost up
necessary.
here for B.
Oh.
You can't get rid of me that easy.
Yep. Discussion necessary action regarding sheriff request to lease 2 flock cameras.
So this was a request that Captain Panis brought to us and from the sheriff's office.
So as you mentioned earlier, a couple years ago, we added Elpers cameras, which are automated license plate readers to the Lisbon squad cars. This is a similar type system. However, it is stationary. So if you look on this, the sheet of paper that you have with you, the picture on the back or on page 2 is what the cameras look like more up close. The quoted one in here is basically a solar panel and a camera, so it can run nonstop. They do offer a hardwired option if it's on a power pole where it does have access to power. However, they are intended to run completely wireless. This is a stationary Elpers camera that is supposed to have a increased AI built into it. So basically within the software and the program that's in it, it has better recognition of not only license plates, but other vehicle markers, including color, make, model, bumper stickers. So they have what they call the vehicle fingerprint, where if you have a vehicle that has no plate on it, or you got a description of suspect vehicle and whatever incident is a blue Honda with a red bumper sticker. We can search more of that specific information instead of just the Wisconsin Auto 123 ABC from the license plate. It gives us more parameters to search and basically a smarter program to use that. Flock is a program that started in, I believe, 2017, and since then has gone nationwide. This has expanded heavily in our area in the last year or so. Menominee Falls, Germantown, City of Waukesha, and Milwaukee are all implementing this system. And going to this allows our agency not only to have access to these cameras, but to the reads in all of those cameras in this area. So if we're looking for a suspect vehicle, we have access to that entire network of cameras, as well as real-time reads on that. So our dispatch center essentially would be monitoring this system. So if we get a hit of a stolen vehicle entering our area, it would tell our dispatch center, we can start looking for that right away. And it's not just stolen vehicles. We can enter our own vehicles into this hot list. So if we say we have a missing subject, last seen driving this vehicle, we can enter that as well. So if that suspect drives or that subject drives past one of the cameras, we'll get an alert for it right away. So not only if we're looking for suspect vehicles and criminal activity, but missing people, Amber Alerts, anything with children, like kidnapping, stuff like that. On the 3rd page, you'll see there's a couple of their highlights and their success stories, and they do note in here a lot of success with kidnapping, because with Amber Alerts, they try to get vehicle descriptions right away, and that has been a hot topic. This one is a subscription-based fee, I guess. It is $2,500 per camera per year, plus a $300 one-time setup fee. We are looking to put in 4 cameras in this area and have half funded through Lisbon, half funded through Sussex. So that way we can hit the entire area and hit all vehicle or a good chunk of vehicles coming and going from this area.
Where would you put them?
We haven't decided that exactly. A lot of it would come down to how many cameras we get and where the municipalities would like them. We talked briefly at National Night Out, some of the busiest intersections in this area, Town Line and County Line, Town Line and Lisbon, Town Line and Silver Spring. So we get heavy traffic flow. Highway 164 is another major thoroughfare in this area. So Highway one sixty-four, our county line was discussed, and Highway one sixty-four down by Linden was discussed, but there's nothing definite or set in stone.
Who makes a decision on that?
I don't know exactly who would make that. I think it would be, the decision would probably be through Captain Panis after discussion with you and the Village of Sussex, since it's both funded. She's also had talks with other businesses in the area that want to help fund this as well. So I know Quad Graphics had reached out to her about funding part of this, but nothing definite has been set through that route.
Who all has access to this information in the department? Is there criteria as far as, can anybody just type in anybody's license anytime they want to see what's going, where they've been?
No, it would be basically our supervisors and detectives who have access to run plates. So we'd have 2 supervisors that have access to add vehicles to the hot list. And then if we're looking for a vehicle, any of our supervisors would have access to check, hey, has this vehicle been spotted anywhere recently?
And who supervises that?
Or,
So let's say there's, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's say there's a supervisor that wants to find an old girlfriend or old boyfriend. And they decide to just type in their plates to see where they've been.
all of this is tracked through Flock, so I wouldn't say that we have a specific person in our agency going through every time a plate is run of when it's read. But if a question comes up, hey, why'd you run this plate? We have to be able to justify that, just like any plate. that
But to
we
who?
run.
Who reviews
To the
that?
best of my knowledge, I'd only be run through Flock, but I'd have to double check on that.
So probably nobody.
Probably nobody within our department are checking them.
So if this is a national company, what's the? Does any department have access to it then? Anybody that has Flax, they have access to Wisconsin or Lisbon?
Yeah, so if we do get into this program and we search it, I'd be able to check reads anywhere in this area. It's like our current system with the ones on our vehicles. When I log in, I can search anyone that's within our system. So our current system is run through Greenfield Police Department, and it's all the municipalities in this area. When I say this area, it's pretty much southeastern Wisconsin. So if I'm looking for a vehicle involved in a domestic suspect took off, I can run that plate and in real time see if it's been read by any of our squads, any squads in this area. So Waukesha PD, Greenfield, however many other agencies use it, I don't know off the top of my head. But I am able to go back and read through that and provide that information to the deputy or who's ever investigating that case.
But it's just the people that are in our area. It's not the people from Fort.
It would
Worth,
be,
Texas.
yeah, anybody within this specific network.
Do our squad cars have the visibility now? Of when they're driving around, they check?
Yeah, so the Elper system that's in there right now is mounted on the squad car. So as it's driving past, it is tied into the DOT and NCIC database. So any car that's listed as stolen, the plates are expired, plates are suspended. If they happen to be driving past and their camera hits on it, a notice pops up on their screen and will tell them the reason why it's flagged. And then they rerun that plate through basically our time system, which is through DOT. So we can confirm that it's actually a valid hit and not something that was old and the system hasn't updated yet. So if I drive past your car and your license plates are suspended because you didn't pay your registration, it'll flag on my car, on my computer. I can rerun it, say, yep, it is actually expired, and then conduct a traffic stop based off.
Again, you don't send out tickets and nothing like that, or a letter.
No, that'd be an immediate stop. So I'm driving past you, I'll turn around and then conduct a normal
I got
traffic
you.
stop. It can also be used for investigative purposes. So with all of those reads, if we're looking for a suspect, we can go back and get those reads and say, when was this plate last seen? Or we've had it where we're looking for wanted people. This car has been read in the same spot every day. Maybe we should sit here and try to find that person right there.
Is that data shared with the DOT at all?
With the reads?
Right.
Yeah, so when we get a read, we have to go through and basically acknowledge what the outcome was. So if we got a positive read, you can click conducted a traffic stop citation issued, or conducted a traffic stop warning issued, or unable to conduct a stop due to being tied up on a call. So all of that gets logged in the database.
But I mean, as far as, so you're driving by, I seen this system when it was brand new in Milwaukee. It was impressive. They pulled into a parking lot and the thing never shut off. But I mean, so if like a car driving by with expired registration, you're not required to stop them, but it records that. Does that then report that to the DOT that is an expired plate? What I'm looking at here is like, there's some people that don't necessarily register their vehicles every year, but then they go and say, yeah, I didn't drive it this year.
Right.
Are they
I'm
gonna
not
come back
sure
and
if that's
say,
reported back. I know that's all saved in-house on a server in Greenfield. And with their current policy, it's saved for a certain amount of time. I don't know off the top of my head. I believe it's 90 days. All that data is saved and then it's wiped from their system. So that way it's not like forever tracking where every vehicle is.
It's just the big brother question with all of this is that what's safety and what's too much?
In this area, it's been getting busier and especially now that Menominee Falls has it, we've noticed how big of an uptick there has been on stolen cars entering the area. And probably between Menominee Falls and Germantown, they're probably chasing a stolen car off of a flock alert almost every day, if not every other day. So it's, I think, not only a good tool for investigations, but recovering those vehicles. And I don't know off the top of my head how many cars we get driving through our area that's stolen every day, but Menominee Falls is that far out. And this system has been keeping them very busy since they got this.
What are your, what,
The ones we purchased for the cars, are they on flock?
Those are not on Flock. That's a separate system. That one is basically it's essentially the same program if you think of like Apple versus Windows. It's two separate programs that essentially do the same thing, but they're housed in separate databases. So if we're looking for a car, for example, I can search that car right now through our helpers in the cars. I can also search that through all of our cameras and our license plate readers that are at all of our county parks, but that data is not shared back and forth. So if I'm looking for a car, I need to search that plate in an Elper system. I have to run that independently through each one.
Mark, what's your thoughts?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I guess the biggest distinction I would make, I think people are trying to tie the older LPR that's mounted on the car to this system. And the cool advantage about this new system is that our old system, we need a decal, a number, a license plate. It needs to read something that's similar to a sequence of a license plate to actually capture it. The nice thing about this system is it does all that, but it also captures that a white car drove past the location, a black pickup truck. So for instance, we could place it inside of a business district that's getting vandalized with scrap metal thefts or catalytic converter thefts. And if the flock system is in there, it'll capture both the license plate if it's on the car, and also it'll capture the image of the car. And it doesn't need both to produce a reading. Our old system, the squad car would actually have to drive by that car. And this one's just more, I guess it's more bang for your buck because it's all computers doing the work and it's out there 24/7 versus a squad car. You know, if they get called to somebody's house, they're not on the road. They're not capturing plates just because they're doing their other duties. So this is just a different angle and an improved angle on regular license plate readers.
Have you heard if Sussex is gonna go forward with it?
Sounds like Sussex is going to purchase two.
How's everybody? Becky, how do you feel about this?
I think my problem is if you put this out on 164. And it picks up something, but if the car is going straight and your surrounding communities don't have it, then you know who where that car went, correct? Or
Correct. So if you look on, I think it's the second page on here, it talks about their accuracy. On the capture rate on the bottom, it talks about the single lane versus the two-way traffic. One of the things that the city of Waukesha just put out is they put these at pretty much every major intersection at the entrance to their city. And their goal was to capture cars as they're coming into their city. So that'd be a similar thing if it's at, say, 164 and County Line, where yes, we'd get some cars going northbound, but we'd hopefully be able to get all the reads of the cars going southbound. So we'd get those cars as they're coming into our area, not as they're leaving.
And if something comes up, how long does it take the fire to get there?
We would get immediate, we get immediate notification and dispatch, and it would depend on where that person is. If they happen to be at the Quick Trip, the new Quick Trip getting a cup of coffee, they'll be there within 30 seconds. If they happen to be here, it's gonna take them a little bit to drive over to 164 and County Line. Paula?
Who, who owns the data that's collected? Is that Flock?
It is run, yes, maintained by Flock.
The data itself. You're talking about the data itself.
Yes,
not
so
the
that is,
system.
and you said you think that it's stored for 90 days and then it's.
I don't know what theirs is. I believe the BOSS system, which is what we use through Greenfield, I believe their retention policy is 90 days. Linda?
I'm trying to think of this, and I understand what Mark was saying, that, the other one's kind of outdated, but outdated, perhaps. And this is certainly a newer system, but it just seems like a lot of money here. A lot of money. And so it's $5,000. This isn't just an investment. We have to keep at this because it says approximately $5,000 annually.
That would be correct. This one is a subscription based. So the initial cost to put up the camera is, I believe it was $300.
Right.
And then it's $2,500 per year per camera. Basically, it's the lease, the maintenance of the camera, all that data, all the software, it's all covered within that.
Yeah.
The camera is stolen, they replace it.
Yep.
No cost to us.
That's part of that. The leasing of that camera. Most of them are pretty high up on the poles that they put up.
And the 2,500 a year, is that, how long is that guaranteed for? Could that go up, year to year?
I actually don't know now. I would have to check.
I think that's a
If I-
fine thing.
If I can I jump in? Yep. This is, it's a pretty well-known system. It's in at least 40 states now, and I believe it was 1,400 cities the last time I checked. And I think the nice part about it is we don't have to own it on a year-to-year basis. So I guess the safe part for our decision-making is, yes, it is new technology. It is proven in other places. I think one of the apprehensions that we could have is that it doesn't work for us. But I think after a year, if we find it doesn't work for us, we can reevaluate it then. But I think we'll find that it's probably beneficial to everyone. And I'm sure the police services could report back to us with effectiveness or success stories. One thing I see that is a huge benefit for us, having just one squad in our town that we pay for, is that it can save officers times from having to investigate erroneous or unfounded complaints, in the sense that I'll give you a real life example. A mother called in that her adult son was missing. That could be in previous days, that could be a hour, 2 hour investigation just to find out that the guy's in Milwaukee and doesn't want to talk to his mom. In this system, I actually used it last week and we found license plate hits in West Dallas on multiple different days in the same pattern of time. And the complaint was resolved within 15 minutes. So it will save time for officers out on the streets. And I think I could say right now I'm in support of it.
Well, is this something we want to potentially move forward on tonight, or think about it some more, or say we're not doing? How's everybody feeling?
I'd like to look into it a little more deeply. I think it sounds like a great piece of technology. I just want to share your concern a little bit. I'd like to just kind of look into it a little more. I mean, how did the department obviously is very much in favor of it, I'm guessing, correct?
Yes.
I mean, let's think about it.
So what I have down from the questions that came up during the discussion were who makes the decision on where they go? Who actually owns the data itself? The number of days that data is kept, and is there a guarantee on what the annual costs are going to be for any number of years? That's what I have so far.
I would like to know who has access to this data besides, so at Flock, what are they allowed to do with the data? I mean, data is everything these days. Can they sell it? Can they, yeah, this model of car drives in this area, this model of car drives in that area. What's being done with that data is what I would like to know. I do see the benefits. I really do. It's just, I mean, the cost is 5,000. Could that save us 5,000 in overtime in 1 year with deputies not looking for somebody, probably could, but I'm not huge on the Big Brother thing though either. So,
I think we get a little bit more information and we go that way.
Bring that back.
Becky? Okay,
And if you're interested in doing some more research, I believe it was the city of Milwaukee just put in, I want to say it was 2,500 flock cameras throughout their city. In city of Waukesha, I think they put in about 25 or 30 of them throughout their city. And I know I saw at least one article about the city of Waukesha. So if you want a local example, if you do a couple minutes of Googling, there are some local examples, and then Menominee Falls. I haven't seen anything posted or published, but I'm just working in the same area as them. They've had a lot of success stories if you're looking for something in this area.
Yeah, that's great.
okay.
Any other questions or anything else I can help with?
I don't think
Did you
so.
need a list of, did you write the list down?
I
or-
got everything written down.
Okay.
I'll reach
Alright.
out to the captain. She was off today and I'll follow up with her on Wednesday.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to table this until the next meeting?
Table the block cameras until next meeting.
Is there,
More information.
is there a second?
Yeah, exactly.
Second by Paula, no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Item C, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance 2022-10 to fix an erroneous detachment.
All right, so in front of you, you have a request for consideration. Our document that went out with the legal description for our cooperative border agreement added one parcel that was supposed to be left out on until 30/31 or until it changes hands. So this amendment will make that change. Sussex has it on their agenda as well tomorrow. And then we can get this to DOA, make sure that this property owner stays in our voting systems in the proper way. And then we will file this with the clerk will file this with the Register of Deeds office. So it's something to clean up our an erroneous detachment.
Questions? Everybody understands what's going on? Mark, anything for you?
Nope, I understand it.
Is there a motion on this item? Is there a second?
I second.
By Linda. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Right. Item D, discussion and necessary action approving bid of paving of Lake 5 pedestrian path.
All right, as you can see in front of you, we received one bid for this project. Prior to this bid, we received 0 bids the first time it went out to bid. So Uncle reached out to a couple of the bidders. We thought we would get actually 2. We only received 1, significantly higher than what it was estimated at, but it's about anything right now that was estimated out last year. So the big thing in there that talking to Mitch was there is an undercut price So what that is once the base is set, they would proof roll it with a truck or unit. It's a smaller path, so I don't know what they use, but either way, it'd be something with significant weight. And you watch the base and make sure it doesn't move and it's solid. And if it moves, then that section you would paint out and dig out and put new gravel in and beef up the base. We're pretty confident that would be zero almost, or very minimal, due to the fact that this is a bicycle and walking path. It's not a vehicle traffic road. So you potentially will have $55,000 not built out. So when you take that 196,000 and subtract 92,760 and take the 55 away, you're getting down, to 140. So it's still higher than the $103 estimate, and that's still a number that could change, but that is at our discretion. We will be out there for the proof roll. That's not going to be at, let's say, Pablaki discretion that they got to undercut that. That'll be us being out there, Mitch, myself, whoever, and we'll be looking at it and making that decision. So chances are we can't guarantee it, but could be zero or very minimal undercutting, which would bring that down significantly. Now, that being said, we're still up over 103,000, obviously. And then we have a $75,000 CDBG grant that is for this path that has to be used this year. Sounds like you can't carry over these grants. They need to be used within the calendar year. That's through Tammy at Conkle. The information she told us is that it needs to be used within the calendar year was given out. So we're kind of in a tough spot. You're getting $75,000 of, I don't want to say free money, but free money to go towards it. Yes, we have to pay a little more, but if we don't do it now and we revisit this later and the grant money's gone, well, you're paying 150 to 200,000 probably. So it's still a decent reduced cost, which is still more than we thought.
Just do this not that long ago.
As in pave it or
Right, the path over.
They
no?
put stone down.
Yeah, this is just gravel. It is currently gravel. This is to put asphalt on top.
So at 195,760, if the 55,000 comes off, we'll come to 140,760, and then their estimate was 106,370, which brings us over 34,390. And we're getting a $75,000 CDGB grant as well. So I don't, depending on how you want to move forward, we can move forward and have to pay the possible $89,000 more if the whole 55,000 was cut in. If the 55,000 wasn't used, it would be about 34,000. But if we don't do it this year, we're going to lose the $75,000 CDBG grant.
Tough spot to be in.
So this was originally thought to only be around 30,000 out of our
Extra.
pocket.
I don't know. Well, yeah, this,
So at the best case
36,000.
scenario this could ever be, we are double what we originally thought it would be.
It's like 72, it'll coming that out. In the end, because if it's 147.6 with the $75,000 grant. Yeah.
Mhm. Plus the $3,000 in tree removal, I would recommend doing. We do not have to do the landscape restoration. I'm willing to do that. I mean, unfortunately, there's still a topsoil cost there. We're not going to be able to do that for free, but we would do the labor for, whatever. But we still would have to buy the topsoil, but we would reduce the 33,600 significantly. I can't give you that number, unfortunately, till we do it, but we could save money there, and I'd be willing to do that in house. It's just the trees for 3,000 is I laughed because when I saw that was a deal for tree work to remove 10 trees over there for $3,000 on a traffic controlled hill. So there's a lot more involved than just going and cutting. You're talking 2 guys to do traffic control, maybe 3 to 4 guys on the ground. So, and that needs to be done before the project can start, where The restoration work can be done at our discretion after. I have a ton going on right now, so to just fit that in, if they're all of a sudden coming, it's just for $3,000, I'd recommend we would roll that in.
What's the life expectancy of this thing, do you know?
I would put it the same as a road, so 20 years plus.
So we're gonna have $200,000 times the rate of inflation in 20 years.
Mhm. But I think if we maintain it, we could seal it. You're not getting the the heavy truck traffic that ruts it up and breaks the edges up, walking and bicycle. Kind of like, I don't know, say a driveway, but if the driveway is done right, it lasts a while. You're talking 3 inches of asphalt when a road's at 5 inches with 80,000-pound trucks on it. We're going to 3 inches with 200-pound people and bicycles on it. So it
So the
should,
frost is the only thing that's gonna hurt.
correct. We live in Wisconsin, so beautiful.
What's the maintenance right now on this gravel? Is there a lot of maintenance on that?
No, I'd say relatively light. Weeds maybe, but that even bad because people are on it, so it stays down. It's actually in good shape. That's why we feel the undercutting would be minimal because we're not out there hitting soft spots where the water's holding and it's nasty where we're always touching it up with gravel. It's self-sufficient for the most part.
So if I understand you correctly, we can only use the 75,000 on this path.
Correct. It was designated. I did a Zoom meeting in front of the Waukesha County Grant Committee and it was specific to this. ADA purposes, stuff like that. So it is very specific to that.
How many people use this?
Enough. I mean, it's busy. See people always on it when I go by, not like trains, but there's always somebody walking or riding a bicycle on it.
Joe, when we were going for the CDBG grant, you put out the signs that say contact,
Mhm.
and they got people that are residents that contacted the county that actually said, we would like this path.
Is it our residents or Merton's residents?
Could be a mixture.
Could be a mixture of all.
It was a neat process because I was a little nervous doing it because I was in front of people that had no idea and trying to explain the reason and it went really good. And like she said, we got these people, residents to write in and all that. So they even told us that helped a lot. Just because of the people that were, we wanted to pave, we wanted da. So
Yeah, they said they never
it's
had.
been in the works for years.
that
Johnny
much
was working
contact.
on this, and he was still here. So
I'm sorry, Kathy, could you repeat how you came up with 140,000?
I-
I don't know.
I took off the 55,000.
Yeah, and then you take out the 75
mhm.
from that also.
It's no fun for anyone. And asphalt so when we started this season, one of the asphalt vendors here was up $5 at the beginning of the year from what they were a ton, 1 ton. There's a little square here. $5. August 1st, they just went up another 5. So they're up $10 a ton. And that's $65. We're not talking $3,000 and it went up a ton. We're talking a $60 number that went up to 70, let's just say. And that's 1 ton. And I don't know, I think they had it in here. So yeah, they have 500 ton. Times $10.
The prices coming down a little bit?
No, they went up.
Yeah, that's asphalt doesn't, they're not even thinking about lowering that yet. The only thing I've seen come down this year is salt, which is up, but otherwise everything else has gone up. Mhm.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Manal.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Is there any possibility to just expend the funds for the grant and then just take the project as far as that grant takes us and then rebid it on a different bid next year or the following year to finish it?
Possible, but you're
It's-
stopping.
I don't know,
asphalt.
because I think it was, they gave us the 75,000 and we, with the understanding that the whole project was 106,000. So,
Is there a match requirement for that, or is that
no, but
I
that,
guess a unbinding promise?
I can't tell you if it was a match, but I can tell you that what we sent to them was, it's $106,000 project. And they gave a 75 with the understanding that we were gonna take care of the rest. But I do not know if it was considered a match. Per se.
Is there a possibility to apply for an extension on the project date with the grant funding agency just because of economic climate?
We can,
can
Tammy
try
from Conkle, that's her department, so we'd have to ask her if she could reach out and then get a final answer for the next meeting.
Becky, what do you think?
We have been talking about this project ever since the staff was put in. And I think prices are just going to go up, and I think we have a grant, we need to do it.
Paul?
Is there any way they can increase the grant to kind of have the same offset with the original number? No.
We tried for 85,000 and then when, after the presentation was over, you don't hear nothing. And then all of a sudden they just said, we approved you for 75. So that's actually how it went down. So,
And who has?
it's not even a mile. I would say it's probably half a mile of asphalt. 8 feet wide.
I was not keen on this when we talked about it the first time. I'm just,
I know.
I was-
remember.
I cannot spend this kind of money on this. That's me, I'm one person.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this capital project coming up and all these things in here. I don't know. Marlene's gonna torch me for this, but I just can't spend this kind of money on a sidewalk.
It's awful on one.
I mean, when it was 31,000, I would have voted for it tonight here, but now we're talking 62 and up. Was it 62 to 118,000 minimum?
Mhm.
62.
Depending on what the number, I think I'm even off a little bit. I think I'm a little low. I don't know. That's me.
Well, I'm bothered by this too. It's not even it's not even a mile. And I happen to think probably for the where it's located, it's a lot of Norton people too.
It's not like it's not usable, it's just stone.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's I'm okay with stone. That's me, you know.
I think, yeah, well, how it all arose is, a lot of the developments, Hardeman Meadows and Merton, Barnwood and Lisbon, the bug line, all are paved around it, and this is just in the middle with gravel. That's kind of how it all started.
We got the developer. Pay
Yeah.
for all those.
Correct.
And I know I mentioned this last time when we put in the gravel. Is there any way that Merton would help you for this and for people use this a lot?
I don't know. No community really usually does that. But you can always ask them, but I don't know.
Just like the Washington County asked us to help with the roundabout.
Isn't it on our side?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Right, it's on our side of the road, so I can't see how many Merton people are crossing. Oh, I think it's on Lakeside Road. Yeah. I think that it's a shame if you give us a grant that we have fought for years. I just think it's a shame. And I don't think your residents would be happy that you gave up a grant that you got.
I don't know about that though.
Oh,
I mean, the only thing changing is that it's asphalt from stone.
well, when you're riding a bike, I mean, it's much easier on asphalt, let's face it.
Yeah.
Unless you got the big super duper tires on your bike, but, even just taking a stroll or walking. Hard to take a stroller on gravel. Oh, you can. And I agree. I think I wouldn't want to lose the 75,000. I'm not in favor of the amount that we have to put toward it at all. But I don't see what's the possibility of us getting a new, different grant next year, or will they put it on hold? So, but will the prices go up? Probably. Like everything else, everything's going up and up.
Where would the money be coming from?
Yeah.
Have the budget for it. We budgeted 31,000 for it last year, I think.
28, we have 1,000 in capital for this year, so. On top of the 75,000, so you're at that 103 area, and then. Yeah, the rest is a question.
Maybe some of that other money.
And this is to be done this year.
But that,
It's to be
it
done in 22.
would be, or supposed to be.
Is it supposed to be done in 22?
Just for the grant purposes, I mean, and they will do it, I mean, this bid was to have it done in 22.
Was there anything in the bid that would keep us from pushing this to the next meeting and gather some information?
No, I don't believe that'd be an issue for 2 weeks.
Because I think Mark's suggestion on asking for the extension might be worth looking into.
Mhm.
If they can give us the extension due to, the economic climate. I think
Yeah.
that would be worth a phone call. Mhm. Unless you are not moving it forward.
When did you originally get the $106,000 bid?
That was an
That was an
estimate,
estimate.
not a bid by
Oh, an
council in 2021 area, probably fall, summer, 2021. Which historically their estimates were always high, so that just goes to show you how nuts things have gotten.
Things have really changed.
I have a question, possible suggestion for the overage on funds. Is it possible, due to the fact that it's recreation tied, to tie it in with ARPA funds? I mean, obviously that's a policy question, and then secondly, it's a board decision to make if we're comfortable with that.
That's what I was wondering. And I needed to say, don't take ARPA.
I do not know the answer to that.
We think we'd be able to use we can use our ARPA funds any way we'd like at this point, because we used them as lost revenue. That's what we claimed them as lost revenue.
And maybe I think we should, I have Joe find out some answers to the questions that we have. We'll talk about it next meeting. I make that motion.
To table it till next meeting.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I would second.
So talk to see if we
Oh,
can
we-
just extend it, I just confirming, so I got this written down right, but confirm that we're extending it till, if it can be extended till 23. And otherwise come back with some numbers and go from there.
Unless you vote, but then I wanted to get.
Yeah.
the next meeting.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to table till the next meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
You'd also want to check to see if we're able to pay a portion of it this year, to what we had anticipated it to
Mhm.
be. Or if we had to use the whole amount, if we have
Right,
to
if
pay
we
106, if it was a match.
75 plus what we had available and see
Right.
how far it could go, and then if it's not done, is that they
Yeah.
don't like that, okay.
Just to give them an option. I don't
Mhm.
know if they'd want to go in that direction. or not.
Item E pretty much follows along. Discussion necessary action approving CDBG cooperative agreement.
All right, so the CDGB cooperative agreement, normally, first of all, I talked to Dale Shaver this afternoon, and he wanted me to extend his apologies that this was such a shortcoming. We received this on Wednesday of last week, or got word of it on Wednesday, received it on Thursday, evening while we were at Plan Commission. In the past, our CDGB was all done through the county. So the villages and cities all had to fill out this exact same paperwork, but the towns never had to. We just fell under the county is how they did it. Well, this year, HUD came back and said, no, the towns have to also fill the same contract out, the same agreement. The county is planning on doing the exact same thing they do. They do that with the city and the villages, the same kind of administration work and everything. But the difference is we've never had to sign this agreement. I talked to Attorney Macy. Of course, he has other communities that had to go through the same process because they're towns as well. So only the towns had to do this at the last minute. Everybody received notice on, or actual documents on Thursday to have approved and back to them by the 18th. And so the county was very apologetic, but they just got word from HUD that they wouldn't accept the county just doing the application for all of the towns as a whole. So I ask for your approval.
Any discussion on this? Paul, anything?
And just another I did ask today if we held off on doing this and if we would lose the 75,000 and we would lose the 75,000 grant that we have this year. If we don't sign this, we lose that 75,000. I thought it was for maybe next year. It was what I was hoping for, but when I spoke with Dale, he specifically said we'd lose this year's already awarded 75,000 because it hasn't been dispersed.
Are we committing to anything in this document?
That the administration, that we go through the administration, we would properly, keep track of things. Just, it's actually the exact same thing that we're doing now. It's just that the county is going to continue with doing the paperwork just like they've always done. They contact us, they alert us that something needs to be done, that we need to get something in, and then we give them the information. We get the documents back to them saying what we spent on the project, and then we get the check back. So this also allows for our homeowners that need a down payment through the home consortium and other Title V type that our residents are currently using. So if we don't sign it, the people that are getting their home deposit through the home consortium, that'll stop also. So we have to sign in order for them to be able to continue we have to cooperate.
Okay.
What's all of our obligations or costs or anything to do with?
Just as they are right now. We're just signing it instead of the county signing it for us.
Isn't some of this just? I mean, it seems like we're committing to a whole lot here.
That's one of the things that Macy was concerned about. And he had mentioned that to his other towns as well. But the fact that we're using CDGB grant funds for different projects, we're already running through the requirements. We still have to do these same requirements as we just never had to sign.
So these are exact requirements that
According to, Dale, I spoke with Dale. He said these are exactly what they've been doing all along. They've just been doing it for. Dale Shaver is the director of the Department of Parks and Land Use in the county.
Municipalities shall select at least 2 action items in the list below to affirmatively further fair housing for the duration of this agreement. Items listed are from the 2020 to 2024 regional analysis of impediments to fair housing. Municipalities served by sewer service allow for the development of new single-family homes and 2-family homes on lots of 10,000 square feet or smaller, which we do not do. Allow for home sizes less than 1,200 square feet, we do not do. And municipalities served by sewer service allow for the development of multifamily housing at a density of at least 10 units per acre. I have never wanted multifamily ever. Support higher density residential development, expand sanitary sewer service consistent with adopted regional sewer service plans. I guess that one could be looked at as what potentially is on 164. Amend design regulations, promote flexibility in development and construction costs. I don't even know what that means. Communities with sewer service should designate recommended mixed use areas on local land use plan mapping and provide for multifamily housing within mixed use zoning categories. Not for that. Adopt inclusionary zoning provisions such as higher density, allowing a waiver of modification of other development standards where certain set asides are made for affordable housing for moderate and low income families. I don't know how we do that here.
I think when because we fall under this now, but we fall under it as a county as a whole. So if it's someplace in the county, just as we mentioned that in our comp plan as well, a lot of the
It's requiring that we do two of these.
multifamily, and
Says
they are
municipality
within the
shall
county.
Select at least two items in the list below to affirmatively further fair housing for the duration of this agreement.
And if we sign as the town, does that means that we have to adhere to this, not countywide, townwide, correct? This is,
I mean, if nobody's checking on any of this, which it sounds like they never did, because we never. did
We've
any of
never
this
done any of
before.
this, but it was under the understanding that it's within the whole county.
But I mean, it specifically says municipality will. Select at least two, I don't know, I'm just reading what it says.
Mhm.
Well, I thought that too, but 400 square feet.
I mean, you're supposed to select two, and is it two from A, B, C, and D? I guess I don't. Suppose we could find two from there, I just don't wanna sign into something that we have no intention of doing anything with. Develop diversity awareness curriculum for staff and fair housing training for key staff. Provide training programs for local leaders, elected officials, and general public on the benefits of population and housing diversity. I mean, if we can pick two of those. I guess, I don't know. I just wanna make sure we're willing to follow that. If we're gonna sign an agreement, we need to
Yeah.
be able to follow it.
We allow for, as much as, we allow for mixed use, we allow for multifamily and mixed use, we just don't have any development. with it. We only
Sure.
have, low density in, 3 places in our town.
If we,
Like the one on 164 at Pewaukee, as the small part of
Mac
Genesee
Myers.
Depot. And then a small part at, by the roundabout at McLaughlin's. Right there is also multi, those are 3 multifamily. Jurisdictions.
so if we don't, the only CDBG we have going on right now is the path, correct?
Correct.
But if we don't sign this year, we're never getting another one.
Right,
Safe to say.
unless we make the decision to sign it next year.
well,
Macy's
it's
not,
so that this is $75,000 we lose if we don't sign it.
It is. But if you make the decision, you're not gonna do the path, it wouldn't make any difference.
but Macy's not exactly loving
He's,
this.
he's not loving it, but his other communities signed it as well. He just said, just be understanding.
Overpower to say you can do this and you don't have.
But we have to have two, we just have to be able to answer the question if it's ever asked that of us.
Concerned about
Do we-
Washington County coming and saying, well, you have to put in a 400 square foot houses.
Well, we have to pick two. They don't get to dictate which
Right.
two. I mean, there's quite a bit in here. I just read a few of them.
I read that before, but, well,
I mean, we don't have to sign this meeting. We could wait to decide if we're getting, I mean, if you're voting for the path, you gotta do it. Let's be frank.
Right, that was my specific question to Dale. I had 2 questions for him. Can we not do this and still get our 75?
Yeah, I mean, this is,
And
if you want the
are we-
75,000 for the path, this has to be signed. This has to be voted in.
it's not just something we all get covered under. I mean, this is not new.
No, it's not new. It's just that we've never had to sign it. The county did it for us.
Right, but people still alive.
Right?
Not if
But,
you don't
but
sign it.
at the same time, the county could find it as the county. You know, they could consider, because a municipality, local is also, the county can also say it's all of their. So,
Mark, what do you think?
I would say I would be in favor of signing it. I guess if we need to make a resolution to cancel it later, that's a different story, but if we're gonna revisit the path, we need to have this on board.
Becky, you're in favor of,
I'm not.
I guess if it's the same language as we've always been held under, then I'm for it. If there's new verbiage in here and wording that hasn't been, I don't want.
I can't answer that today.
I can tell you if the board is gonna vote to go with the path, I'm gonna sign this. If the board is not gonna vote to go with the path, I have no way signing this.
But there's more grants that we apply for through this.
We do. We do. And is our bridge grant also, or is that LERP grant? Yeah, we actually got that, I think it was our grant for, Richard Road, was that a CDBG? That was a CDBG, that was,
Oh,
what,
well, then we have to sign.
125,000?
That was last year.
That was last, 172. Yeah, that, we got it, though. We got the
Right.
money.
I mean, I don't think there's any new language in here. I'm sure it's the same agreement we have for 20 years. We'll make
We just,
20.
We've just
Yeah, the
never been
difference-
bound by it because we never signed it.
right.
But we were still bound by it because of the law of the county.
No signature. I don't know. So the board want to sign this or not sign this, or gotta make a motion or not, or
I'll make a motion that we approve the CDBG cooperative agreement.
is there a second?
I second.
Second by Linda. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes 3-2. And a rare 3-2 vote.
Yeah.
All right, item F, discussion necessary action regarding capital project request from DPW.
Okay, I'll roll through this as quickly as this is for discussion and then review, and we can decide another day, I'm sure, but if you got any questions, just stop me. Otherwise, if I get out of order, let me know too, but I think I have it in order. So I will start with capital equipment for DPW, which would be priority one is the plow truck money that we put in every year. $65,000. Really nothing new here. The number is up a little due to everything we've been talking about. So we put a quarter in. Village of Merton puts a quarter in each year, and then every 2 years, we have enough money to buy a truck. Same system that's been in place since I've been here and prior. So that's that one. That one's pretty good, right? Number two. And I had it all in order. There we go. All right. Priority two is the roadside mower that we've been bringing to the board here the last few years. Fortunately, that cost has gone up $150,000. It is a tractor with a rear and side flail mower. We currently do have one that is 16 years old. It is still running. It is out mowing currently, but it is getting to the end of its life. The mowers are. The tractor itself is okay, but we cannot retrofit new tractors on an old mower. I've tried, I've asked, you've asked me, I've asked. It's not possible. So new mowers come with a new tractor. And basically just think your mower's out. This mower's out cutting the grass 3 months plus a year on terrain that is very, articulate, whatever you want to say. And it takes a beating. Just that mower is always, one's down here, one's up there, and you're constantly moving, going around culverts and all that. So a lot of flexing parts, and it's just due. We've been bringing it in and milking it out and we're welding on it and rebolting this and heading out with a jack because a pin fell out when we're out and, we manage, but it just, it's there, period. That's it for equipment on highway. I kept it simple to focus on that tractor, trying to put all our chips in there. I guess I'll just stop it as a group there. Do we have any questions on those two? We're switching gears a little bit. Okay. So now we go in building improvements and the salt shed would be our big ticket item. I have a cost on there of 125,000. Now you've traditionally seen 50,000 from me for the last few years, but we're trying to finish this and get it, and that's with an upgraded size of 2,500 ton. We originally brought it at 2,000. Joe, I think, asked to see what it would cost to go to 25. Wasn't that much more. And this would be what our current numbers are to have it built. And with 125,000 on top of the 400,000 we have, it could build it today. Don't know what's gonna happen when we go to bid in January to have it built, but we are gonna bid out the lumber here within the month, which you already talked about. We have the funds for that in there already. And then we would go to bid out the construction and the remaining construction pieces, as in garage doors, man doors, stuff like that, shingles, in January. And then let's hope there's enough money in there. Otherwise, we'd have to come and have a discussion, but we'll see. But this should get us close. 525,000 is the estimate I was given to build it at 2,500 ton. Now, we did talk, or you guys did talk about $60,000 coming out of the ARPA money. So that would offset that 125, and then we would only be asking for 65. I just know that it wasn't necessarily moved in there yet, so I threw as a whole number. But if we took the 60,000 off that you guys already agreed to, I don't know if that's super stamped in stone. Okay. So we really are only asking for 65,000 then. We've generally been asking for 50. This is $15,000 more than, and that would give us our 2,500 ton shed.
Is that with the budgeted money that we had for this year?
Yeah.
It was.
There is a potential that there's $10,000 from Merchant still, because I looked at the contract today after her and I went through everything, and we're missing 10,000 this year. But we just invoiced the Village of Merton. This would be the 5th year according to the contract, 2022. So we should potentially have another 10,000 coming. So that would actually put us at 410. But really, it would be 55, but I didn't want to not.
But what we have in, that includes what we had in this budget for this project. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make.
Correct. 400,000 is the number we have in there today. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so that is that. Second item in priority is the phase 3, and it would be the final phase for the street light upgrades to the town. If you're a night owl and you drive around, you might notice that over time, we've gone from the sodium lights in a lot of these light poles that are orange in essence to the nice LEDs. So 2/3 of that project has been completed, and we did 3 phases of $11,000 totaling 33,000. We've approved year 1 and 2. This would be the final ask for 11,000 and be done next year.
Is there a warranty on these lights when they put them in? Reason I ask is because they're having a huge problem with these things turning purple.
Oh, yeah,
You notice on some of the freeway
yeah, the freeway one.
bypasses and such, you see purple lights. That's not intentional. That's failed LED lights.
Down in Brookfield by the corners, that
Tons of purple
Yeah.
lights. Yeah, the LED lights failing.
I can find out for you. I'll email her tomorrow. Knock on wood, ours that were done in 20 have been seeing
And you think it was
Lights,
just a
but
number, like some that
a
came off
batch or
some year where.
something. Yep. Yeah. So that would be that one. That one's pretty simple. Priority 3. We know that we've talked about carrying over the masonry and painting money that we had allotted for 2022 to 2023. So I have $60,000 there, but that's including the 48,500. So it's really only asking for 11,500. And the reason why I upped it a little is because I'd like to do the gutters right away. I looked in it as I should have done it right away. My bad. I don't know why I didn't think through the gutters. They're just as bad as everything else was. So this would be just add a little extra 11,500. And then we could put that on top of the 48,500, get us to 60,000, and we'd rebid all that out in January. Paint, masonry work, gutters, entire DPW and fire station number one. That's a dual job there. All right, priority 4. Garage doors at the DPW building. We have 3 remaining that need to be replaced. We've been chipping away at it over the last couple of years. I would love to just get them done. They're leaky, they're old, you see daylight out of them, their parts are unavailable as they break. And there's not much more to it. It'd be nice to get them done and they seal up nice. That's new openers. That would be new openers and everything. So 30,000. Okay, that would do it for your improvements. Any questions? All right, the final thing within the DPW would be roads. I know we had our little discussion, so I just threw 500,000 in there to get us back to that, you know, to hold our road rating numbers and whatnot. I did send you guys an email with just what the roads were that were rated at 3s and 4s. So there is enough money currently sitting in the sinking fund to do what I wanted to do for next year, so say that if I couldn't. There is enough money in there to do what we wanted to do for 23, but this would be to just keep putting money in there so we can preserve the roads.
This is in capital. This doesn't include your crack fill.
Correct, that would be separate. We still would have $100,000 in operating going towards crack fill. That we'll see it. So. Okay, that would be highway. Now on to parks. Priority 1 for equipment would be the UTV. We asked for it last year, but we also had a mower in there, so we kind of chose the mower over this. But now this would be all our chips in on this. The John Deere Gator we have has 6,000 miles on it, 2012. A lot of parts have been getting thrown at it this year, just wear parts. Cutting right there. I mean, we're just looking to upgrade it. It's a utilized piece of equipment that runs around the park all the time for cleaning shelters, bathrooms, garbages. They put the tracks on it for running the cross-country ski trails, grooming them. So it has a lot of uses. It gets fired up and used every day pretty much. Priority 2 is a pull behind debris blower. This would be utilized primarily in the fall, but it has a lot of other uses for cleaning the paths off with leaves in the fall. It can be pulled behind the UTV, a tractor, and you can see kind of in the picture there how it would just blow the trails off. Very cool machine. You can go right down the park path in the middle of summer. You know, a lot of times we were hauling chips this year because we're hauling our chips for the compost site out of the park. And once in a while you get a few to fall on the road or whatever. So this could just zip behind it, clean that up. Another cool thing about this for $12,000, it is DOT legal. So let's say we have a storm, you know, that rolls through town and we have leaf debris just everywhere. This can be pulled behind a truck legally on the road and you could just be cleaning the road off after a storm too. So let's say we're in cleaning the trees up, you have a lot of debris left over, then you just follow behind with this and blow it off, and instead of manually sweeping or blowing, it would save a lot of time. Number 3 is a grader bar. This would go on the skid steer, no hydraulics. It's just a bar that you adjust and set. What this would be used for is all the paths at LCP and taking the other parks, but obviously majority of our paths are at LCP. It basically is the awesome way to just you'd keep the weeds down. You know, instead of spending money on herbicides, which those have gone up double this year. I mean, they're just crazy what weed killers have gone this year. So this machine would just bolt onto the skid steer. You could run it over the paths. It would, you know, turn the stone, break up any weeds, and you probably could do it once a month and it would a day of work at most. And you'd be able to minimize any kind of weed control you'd have to worry about on the path. Plus you could use it in a lot of different aspects, grading. If you're doing a gravel area or anything, a new path, it just would help with grading. So those are requests Mike has brought to me. For equipment, now on to improve building improvements. We have the HVAC upgrades at the parks shop and offices. That is 30+ year old furnace in there. There is no AC in the system. It's just a box unit in the one room there. So obviously the ductwork is already there for the heat. You would just end up putting in a new furnace with AC and a condensing unit, and you'd have your AC. We won't have to do ductwork or anything. So that would be to replace the furnace and add a condensing unit and a coil for air conditioning. 2 is a mister. We currently have a mister that is leaking and having a lot of problems out at LCP. This one incorporates a drinking fountain and a mister all in one, kind of a neat little thing. So this would be to upgrade the current mister, but also be adding then a drinking fountain as well. Just a neat little project there. Next would be $30,000 in garage doors again for the park. They're the same way. Those garage doors are original to the maintenance shed. So once again, one of the openers was already replaced, so it'd be 2 openers and 3 garage doors. All right, the next is a hydrant. Mike has a hydrant down by the down under shelter and where the ice rink is that is leaking. He's tried to repair it and band-aid it up and he's managed, but it needs to be replaced. So what we wanted to do is we had it replaced, then also isolate that hydrant off with a shut off there. So if we want to work on it, we don't need to shut the whole system down up top. We can shut it off there. And also, since we'd be disturbing that area, isolate the down under shelter also, which has water. We could put a shut off there. It would just be nice to isolate these areas. So if you are doing repairs you're literally just turning it off there and going to work on it instead of having to shut down at the well every time. And the final thing is just something we have to get on the radar. With all the trees dying throughout everywhere, really the parks primarily, Mike was interested in looking into, it was a bit pricier than he thought. So kind of why we put it the low priority, but he was just curious what it would even be to put a little nursery up, and really the fence would be for obviously keeping animals out and eating up all your brand new trees you just put out there to utilize someday. So to put a fence up, I mean, it was $50,000. So quite pricey, but something we just wanted to put on the radar that would be cost effective over time, because you could start having your own little nursery with your own trees. You know, you go buy a tree right now, they're very expensive. So. And that is all I have for today.
Any questions? All right.
Do you want to go straight to the next one, or do you want to, you don't want to go through and make decisions on what's moving 23 and? Or do you want to come back and another meeting? in
So typically
September?
what we do is we ponder it and then come back unless people are ready to make a decision on this tonight.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were moving forward.
Mark, any questions?
I'll ponder.
We'll be pondering away. All right, who's up next?
Okay, so for town hall, we only have one capital request for 2023, and it's to replace some election equipment. Our current booths were purchased in 2015, and they were about a year old. I've tried to find out exactly how much we paid for them. It looks like it's approximately $9,000 going through previous budgets. Over the last 7 years, a number of them have broken in the upright supports that hold the briefcase style. So they open and then they have supports that fold out in order to provide privacy screens, and the clips on the sides of those have broken on a number of them, and voters have commented on the wobbling writing surface. And after the 2022 election, I don't believe we will have enough booths to meet our current population growth. So we will have to replace some at a minimum. I would like to replace them all while we can still get some money for the booths that we currently have. So the ones that we're looking at do meet ADA requirements. They are super easy to set up. The legs collapse right into the unit itself. It's on hinges, so it folds flat, and it's got wheels. So it'll be very easy for the DPW to move and set up and tear down. So we're looking at about $13,000 plus whatever the shipping cost would be for the weight.
Okay, any questions? Mark, anything?
How many more do you anticipate needing after the 20?
Nope.
Looking at approximately 10, if the numbers come out the way I think they're going to.
10 additional?
Yes.
Anything for you, Becky?
And Paula, just to clarify, that's 10 to cover the ones that are broken and the population
Oh,
growth.
okay, thank you. Okay,
Not
yeah,
just to
that's not
cover
what I understood.
population growth.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have Andrew with me. He's gonna kind of help take team. He's done a lot of work on our capital projects, and I'm actually gonna have him start with the first one.
Okay, so the first one that we have up here is for radios. These are to replace our current portable radios in a 4-year projected upgrade. We have tried numerous grants in the past to replace these. These radios that we're currently using are roughly 10 years old, if not older. To some of them, because most of them are retired from Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, and we purchased their used ones when there was some radio upgrades going on in the county about 3 years ago. So this is being requested for 10 radios per year. This is just our portable radios, not the mobile radios in the trucks, to replace our 41 total handheld radios that we have throughout the department. It's vital for each riding position or every person to have one on a fairground, as this is typically our only form of communication. This does include the necessary accessories to have this to go with these radios, which is the lapel mic, 2 batteries, a charger, and then programming from the county radio services. There is a discount, obviously, if you do a significant amount of radios, but for the number that we before, this is the allotted fund. So another neat thing, these radios that we're proposing are work on 2 systems, the 800 megahertz system and the VHF system. We use 800 in the county in Waukesha County. Washington County uses a VHF radio system. So we're taking 2 radios that we have now and narrowing it down to 1 radio, so we can communicate with mutual aid partners in Washington County. Also, the backup radio system for IFERN, or the Mavis of Wisconsin system, our mutual aid box alarm system, is a VHF frequency. So that would be very nice to be able to have that as our end all be it, if you will, radio system or radio frequency that it is. So we're setting this to a priority of number 1 with for the allotted amount, and proposing it for the next 4 years to replace all of our radios.
But also be able to upgrade it if the county were to upgrade the system.
Yes, the county currently is in a P25 trunk phase 1 system. They have talked about going to phase 2, but they did talk about going to phase 1 for quite some time before they actually did it. Our current radios will not go to phase 2. These radios would allot for that digital phase 2 system. So, and these are the radios that everybody else in the county is using. We're all using Motorola radios. We do have some in the fire department, EF Johnson radios that are floating around out there. If the battery dies, Waukesha County's radio system is kind of nitpicky. It'll kick them off the system and we have to reprogram. So if you accidentally let your battery die on a scene, it goes back into the tower for repair and get put back on, whereas the Motorola radios don't do that. So that's why we're proposing for the Motorola radios. It's what everybody else is using, and it works well on the Waukesha County system.
Okay.
All right.
All right, next one, most of you saw that we put to replace 2681 grass truck last year. We kind of came up with a different way to propose it this time. We were looking at actually replacing 2 vehicles with 1 vehicle. So we want to combine the vehicles into both a intercept vehicle and a grass truck and make it a dual purpose. So we'd also be getting rid of maintenance costs on 1 vehicle completely. And as you can see with all the amounts listed, we did have that $15,000 donation gift along with a quick trip that we'd like to see put towards this project.
I know we're not supposed to really discuss these that much, but I'm gonna be in favor of this one this year. I've been probably the guy holding back the most of the last 10 years, but, I like this plan.
So we thought it was kind of a neat proposal, and there have been some departments that have made, like, did this combined vehicle, and they've had some success with it, so, and it kind of makes sense with all the staffing shortages levels everywhere, everyone has, so. Anything else you want to add?
The only, that 2681 has been needed to replace for some time, and we're looking at replacing in 2026, 2687, so it will come up for replacement relatively soon, so, you know, it is gonna be worth a little bit more value, for the sale of the vehicle. It hasn't reached the end of its life yet, but it will, and then, you know, potentially replacing that as well, where we can make one home for this vehicle, and utilize it for a lot of different things. So it would be a very nice thing to have, kind of cut down on the cost of insurance.
I was thinking that.
Hmm.
That was good.
Any questions on that one?
I'll let you do the novel.
Okay, so, we're requesting the alignment of our priority number 3 is to start upgrading our firefighting nozzles. Over the last couple of years, and the upcoming years, we've been getting some 2.5-inch hose. And it's time to get some nozzles to utilize that along with replacing the 1 3/4 nozzles that we have on our fire engines. So proposing this over 2 years, to replace all of the 1 3/4 nozzles on our 2 primary fire engines, along with 2.5-inch nozzles to utilize that new hose. And obviously there's various sundry other things that we can do with them, and different hose lays and things, but this would be 5 nozzles per year for the next 2 years, for the next this year and 23 and 24 to equate to 10 nozzles in total.
Questions?
All right, last thing we have in there are steel door replacements. We have about 6 doors total between both stations that we'd like to replace. A lot of them are just getting very difficult to open, difficult as an exit. You know, with the expansion of the seasons changing, the doors start going bad, they start rusting. We've had to kind of grind them down quite a bit. So we're looking at possibly doing 3 this year, 3 next year, and if anything, trying to add into the operational budget for these doors. And we're still waiting on one quote, but you got these numbers from,
Yeah. It's
One of
from
the-
AR. So this is 3 of them. Here's 2 at station number 2 and 1 at station number 1. We're trying to not replace everything at station number 1, just the most frequently used doors. After the life expectancy of the building. Potentially new fire station at some point. So we're just getting it along for right now. But our station number 2 will need some help on some of the doors. With the concrete set of those frames, is porous and the rock stuff that's like swelling, become very difficult to open. So not only is it important for our citizens to be able to get in the building, but us to be able to get out of the building. Because there are fires and fire stations, believe it or not. We need to be able to get out of the building and then be able to lock out all of our equipment and our stations and things like that. So it's important to be able to secure that building well.
So, just so you're aware, both the parks and the highway asked for doors as well. And, I had them, place them in their operating budget. We did talk about that, but I thought we'd bring it forward so then the discussion can happen about doors being put in. It as considered maintenance in the operating budget, or if you wanted to leave them in capital. So if in fact you prefer to have, these doors placed in capital, I'd be happy to suggest that for our parks and our highway doors that they've requested. But the $10,000 I had moved, I suggested the highway and parks to move to maintenance because it's just maintenance of the building. So when it's up for discussion, discuss it further.
I do have a question on going back to the first item, the radios. Yep. If we were to purchase all of the radios in 1 year, is potential to get a discount.
Oh, I'm sure, yes, absolutely.
Could you ask them to see what that might be?
Yep, absolutely. I know there's definitely going to be a discount on programming fees. I don't know what the discount on all of the radios are at once.
Any questions for anyone?
I'm sorry, I missed out on that part. How many radios are you, is there 41 handheld?
Correct.
So you need more than that?
No,
No.
we're just currently going to replace what we have in our stock. So what we have and what we are using currently, we are just going to upgrade. We talked briefly about some of the, and these radios are retired Washington County Sheriff's Department radios. What Motorola does is they give you a 5-year drop off. They say, we're gonna stop making this radio and in 5 years, we're no longer gonna support it and make parts for it. We're well past that. We're 10 years past that mark. So even third-party vendors, we're having to take radios out of service because we can't fix them. So we're in dire need to start upgrading them. We're still gonna use what we have, but we're gonna try to upgrade them over a 4-year period is what we're proposing.
I was confused with Joe when you said if you did all of them.
Yeah,
Talking about 10. Okay, okay,
so my question is if we were to do them all at one
the
time,
41,
what would be the discount?
okay, I got
So
you.
we save some money by doing that, and then we do have some funds available, obviously, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a,
Okay. A no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
any questions for on this?
A lot of work putting all this stuff together.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd just like to echo the appreciation for combining that truck and grass rig with the Intercept. That's exactly what we were looking for last year, and appreciate the research and ideas.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
All right. Item 14, closed session. Pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent E, for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business. Whenever competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically regarding A, the offer to purchase from Quick Trip, and B, revised offer to purchase from Jim Forrester for lands located within Lisbon Business Park East. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I make most of them.
Moved by Linda Beal, is there a second? Second by Becky. Roll call vote.
Chairman Osterman,
Aye.
Supervisor Beal,
Aye.
Supervisor Quinn. Aye. Supervisor Plotecker, Supervisor Moonen.
Aye.
And a closed session at 8:34. We can do that. We'll give you a call, Mark, on the phone.
Thank you.
We're at a closed session at 8:39. I would make the motion to approve the offer to purchase for Quick Trip Inc. as presented. Is there a second? Second by Becky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is the motion to adjourn.
Sure.
Who wants to second that?
I'll second it.
Second by Paula. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's an item to adjourn. Little delay. Brought at 8:40, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Good luck.